and welcome back to another episode of the History of Fan Anime. I'm your host, William Chow, and today's episode, I want to do a little bit of discussion, a little bit of history of what the anime crash is all about. Okay, so basically, just the other day I was talking online through the Twitch channel, and the conversation of anime came up, and then we discussed basically throughout the term the anime crash. And of course, being one of the some of the millennials that are on the channel, they question, well, what exactly do you mean the crash? What is this crash that you talk about? And I just sort of realized, here we are at 2020, that a lot of these people, especially the people who are born, as we refer to as the millennials, who have been born basically around that year 2000. They would not be aware of this fact that the anime industry had crashed, and they would be probably too young to know that this crash happened. But they're still in that era where they grew up with anime, always with them. So they grew up with anime. So I'm referring to the people that were born basically. Around the year 2000 and maybe just a little bit before, but not as old as the people who were born in the 1990s, early part of the 1990s. Okay, because then again they would be about in their mid 20s by the time that you are now, right? So then you would have fully experienced the anime crash. Okay, so we keep talking with anime crash. What is this all about? Okay. Now, I've sort of touched on it a little bit in earlier videos, and basically, in the sort of early era of anime, the onslaught, the fan subbing and that kind of stuff, basically brought the attention that, hey, this Japanese anime, okay, from Japan, definitely has a market in North America. Okay, we can actually sell and license and get these animes into North America, and they can actually sell and make money on it. Okay, so all of a sudden, all these companies, which at the very beginning we only had companies like U.S. Renditions and that kind of stuff. All of a sudden, other companies sort of came on the bandwagon, and Diego, of course, Viz with Kodansha and that kind of stuff. Even big giants like Bandai Pioneer came over. Formed Genom and things like that. They all brought, started bringing anime over. Central Park Media, U.S. Manga. They formed a group, and they started bringing lots of anime over as well. Even some smaller companies like Tokyo Pop started bringing their own anime, and all these independents started all bringing in anime because they all realized that, hey, there is so much Japanese animation. And again, we're talking about 1994, 95, you just think of all the eras of decades, even, of anime that is untouched, that has never been released in North America. Let's start bringing it all over and releasing it and basically, making money on it, okay? So all these companies are starting to bring in all this anime, so that we've, always been there, but now, we've been able to capitalize on it. So basically, they brought in over all these, all these series and shows over. We've had a great influx of all these great animes that throughout the 1990s. We're bringing up basically the 2000s came, and this is where the start of things like anime conventions and that kind of stuff is. Anime Expo just started at their beginnings in the early 2000s. I went to Anime Expo, or in 2004. That's also when I went to saw the big surge of anime presence in like the San Diego Comic Con. When you get like the big guys like DC and Marvel Comics, okay, of course, we all know them for all the superhero things that they were trying to do at that time. And again, superhero things at that 2004 wasn't as big as it is now. But if you can get those guys to realize, hey, we got to get onto the anime bandwagon and start releasing anime things or anime related stuff, okay, then you take and control the industry. So anime is really taking control of the industry at 2004, okay, and so it's gotten bigger and bigger. You can tell it's bigger because all you have to do is follow the money, follow what what the commercial guys are doing, follow what the industry is doing and following and basically latching on. Okay, at this time, we've had Dragon Ball on TV, we've had Gundam Wing, Inuyasha, all these great Cardcaptor Sakura, all these anime shows that weren't versus brand new in Japan, being released here in North America almost simultaneously. Sure, there was a little bit of lag for a couple episodes, but to get those kind of shows on our TV that we can actually watch on the Cartoon Network, YTV, and all these things, that was was one of the greatest times that we've had in this golden era of anime. Okay, you go into you go downtown and you go to Best Buy. You go to things like Blockbusters, and you go to West Coast Video, Sun Coast Video, even the places like EB Games, okay, would carry anime. You can get DVDs of anime and anime games from all these places. So you knew that the market was really into anime. They all were jumping onto this new thing called anime and trying to get into get some money out of it. Okay? But that's what always happens with bubbles. Everyone gets in. There's more and more, and the bubble gets bigger and bigger and bigger. So that you'd think that all this great expansion, all this great exposure is a good thing. Okay? But something happened. Okay? It got too big. And you can think, how can something get too big? I mean, we're spreading this, this gospel of anime. How can it be too big? I mean, you can't be too big. Well, what had happened is that there's so many companies releasing anime and, and different variations of anime that a single consumer could not keep up with all the different animes. I mean, I've got receipts where I'm spending, in a typical month, I'm spending over $1,000, almost $2,000 paying for anime. Okay. And that's just to keep up. I mean, there's still lots and lots of titles that I couldn't get in. And there's no way that a regular consumer could keep up with this kind of, release time of anime. Because as I said, there's years upon years of anime that what they had in Japan that they're now all of a sudden bringing and flushing out into the North American culture. Okay. Plus, don't forget all the stuff that comes out that year in Japan also being streamed and trying to get all that stuff into North America. So I mean, there's so many DVDs and soundtracks and comics and manga, all being dropped on the North American market, and it got to a point where they just couldn't take it. It's like people had to suddenly go, okay, I can't keep up with this. I'm only gonna follow this, or I'm going to do this. I don't care about these series. It got to a point where people started picking anime. Okay, and that sounds kind of weird because you and I are always accustomed to whatever comes out, we'll watch it, we'll look at it, whatever, right? But now you sound like, no, okay, that's about this, I don't want that, or that's about magical girls. Now I'm not gonna watch that, or just I'll just pass on it and kind of. So people start getting picky about that. Okay. So that's one sort of thing that started happening. The second thing that started happening is this whole entire improvement to the technology of computers, media compression, streaming, downloading, and of course the internet as we know it. Okay. So what had happened is that now the anime is no longer so hard to get that these North American companies who are supplying it. They were not as necessary anymore. Not everybody was all of a sudden making money because the sales were not there. People weren't buying the DVDs, they weren't buying the CDs because they were able to watch the anime elsewhere. Via streaming, via BitTorrent and all that other stuff, by trading and all that kind of stuff, these things are started to happen, and these things started to close. Again, you can tell when all these companies all of a sudden, used to be selling, maybe say 10,000 DVDs of Tenchi Muyo, okay? All of a sudden, they are not getting $10,000 per or 10,000 sold copies of DVDs for every release of Tenchi Muyo. All of a sudden, it's dropping, and all of a sudden, they can't even make a 1,000 DVD run for like Dunbine, for example. Okay, they just weren't making the sales. So all of a sudden, here they are. These companies are fishing out, thousands upon maybe millions of dollars to buy and license these Japanese titles, but they're not making their return back on these titles. Okay, so they're losing money. Okay, so all of a sudden, these companies are, I won't say go bankrupt, but they're restructuring, as they say. They're laying off people. They're not buying any new titles. They're not releasing a lot of new stuff. They're re-releasing things in box sets to try to, they try to make money on people who haven't maybe not bought it quite yet, and they're basically just letting their licenses expire, and they're basically closing down. Okay, so all these big companies that we used to have, Bandai pioneered, all of a sudden disbanded. Even Viz Video, which is part of Kodansha, isn't really releasing anything. A lot of projects got put on hold. Okay, I mean, even Animego is the shell of what it used to be. A lot of the most recent releases, had to be crowdsourced in order to get released. Okay, so and you can also tell this not only in the anime market area, right? You can also remember, around 2008, 2009, virtually all the Suncoast videos and major video distributor, that kind of stuff, all closed. Okay, this also marks the era of all the blockbusters closing. So virtually all the blockbusters that used to use to rent videos and that kind of stuff, they have all disappeared. Okay, and for example, you can go into like an electronic boutique, and there's no anime DVDs and that kind of stuff, or that kind of media anymore in those places anymore as well. So, what's the deal with that, right? Like I said, just follow the money, and you can see that these things have really dropped. Now, that's not to say that the popularity of anime has dropped. No, not at all. Okay, it means that the community that watches anime and that is still there, and it's still growing. There's this knowledge that, of course, the modern day generation of kids that have grown up as in the 2000s. Have grown up with anime, and they basically continue to follow anime. They just now have new sources to get the anime and that kind of stuff. Now, it always leads to the same problem is, well, a lot of these people who are watching the anime and that kind of stuff, are they actually really paying for their anime? And that's been one of the biggest, basically downfalls of the anime community in the current era. Okay, now, you can, we get into the argument of how the logistics of that stuff all works. But again, just following how the market has once been, we have never been back to that level of, shall we say, the golden era of anime. We've never been to that height ever again since 2008. Even to today. So almost 12 years worth of anime since that era, shall I say, turning point. Anime has never been in the public eye as big as that has ever been since then. Now you can argue saying, well, hey, I've seen lots of great anime, and that kind of stuff. Yes, you have. Okay, that's because the technology has allowed you to do so. But you ask yourself, have you ever bought an anime DVD for those animes that you've watched? Have you given any money or any sort of sponsorship or any sort of put back into the industry for all that you've watched, all that you've enjoyed, and all that you've consumed? And the modern generation of anime fans here in North America would have to probably say, no, I have not. Okay, and that's the problem. It'll continue for a while. Great, The anime industry in Japan has changed a little bit. Their focus again is not, on releasing things to the outside market just because of that. But again, all we can do is that maybe something as they work something out in the future, they will find some way to say internationally release all their titles and continue to produce great animes and basically hopefully support the manga artists and the voice actors and all the people who work on these animes that we love, so that they can continue to make more and help continue with the future to make better animes in the future. Okay, but that's for another episode. I just wanted to cover the history of this little thing that we call the anime crash, the build up to it, and then of course what has happened afterwards, and then basically go on from that. Now, in the future episodes, I want to get into more this topic of where the industry is going and how it's good. Also, another thing I want to also go over is a lot of people have asked me, well, what are some of your favorite animes or some animes that you've watched since the anime crash? So i.e. some newer animes, and what you thought of them and whatnot. So again, I don't watch as much anime as I used to since since the crash. But this is a good opportunity for me to get into watching a couple of animes and whatnot, and then basically give you my give you a different angle of why this anime sort of way the anime is going is not productive or not, and why there's maybe so many people, especially from the pre-anime crash, that don't like what has come out in modern day. And I'm probably not the only one. There's probably a few people, and a few of you probably are asking, well, how's that? Okay, get that to another episode. And when you hear that, what you want to do right now is you want to hit like and you want to hit subscribe, because when I get to those episodes and some more analysis of this particular topic, you'll get notifications of when I put those new episodes out. All right. So until next time,